The next time you drive through Central Georgia, we've got a radio station we think you'll love. We're Magic 100, playing all of the songs you grew up with. You'll find us at 100.1 FM. That's 100.1. On I-75, you can tune us in from the north at Locust Grove and from the south when you get to Perry. 100.1 FM. Classic soul hits. Magic 100.
This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 181 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. Yeah. If you're new to the show, each week we do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. Tonya B is on hiatus this week, man, but we got a bunch of stuff coming up. Of course, on this week's This is the G Podcast, your boy Tommy B, you can probably hear it in my voice, is recouping just a tad bit from a fun night of frivolity in the SWAT, Southwest Atlanta, my old stomping ground, Ben Hill, the old skating rink, courtesy of Team One Productions, G Reiss Productions. Man, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Had a great time. Woo. Mardi Gras Summer Edition, Mardi Gras in June, a taste of the Port City. Shout out to Mobile, Alabama, and all those cities who really partake in the Mardi Gras lifestyle. It was like on full effect, on full display last night. All of it, man, just grown folk style. Just we'll talk to the organizers, man. I just had a great time. And shout out to my Troy fam who came out, especially G. Gary, man, thank you, bro. G is constantly pulling us together, man, and I appreciate you, man. Again, shout out to Howard, Slick, Vi, Biggity Bankston in the building, Jackie, and Glow in tow. Ladies, thank you so much for coming out. And all the fellows we had on the phone who couldn't connect, but definitely we had a chance to talk to Norm, chilling in the backyard, and Tim out in the Shy. Thank you, fellas. Thank you so much. Also coming up, we got Talib and the Newsmaker crew. Man, we got to talk about this submarine and the antics going on with the NBA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for joining us every week. And with that, let's go ahead and do these headlines. Mike, what you got, man?
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Hunter Biden has reached a deal with federal prosecutors to put an end to a 5-year federal investigation into his failure to pay around $1 million in federal taxes. Also at issue was his purchase of a handgun in 2018. Prosecutors charged him with possessing a firearm while being a user of illegal drugs, which is a felony. However, the feds agreed to dismiss that charge if he completes a 2-year probation period. Under an agreement, President Biden's son will plead guilty to a pair of misdemeanor tax charges. A judge has to sign off on the deal. The investigation has been handled by a U.S. attorney who was appointed by former President Trump and was allowed to stay in his post after Joe Biden took office. As expected, House Republicans say they will continue their investigation into the president and his family. Oversight Committee Chair James Comer accused the Justice Department of cutting a sweetheart deal. The families of those on board of the submersible that has been missing have been told by the owner of that vessel that the crew on board has now sadly been lost. The news came Thursday as the U.S. Coast Guard confirmed that pieces of debris were found from that sub. Rear Admiral John Mauger.
This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor.
He offered his condolences as well.
On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the family.
Again, all 5 on board have died following evidence of what is being described as a catastrophic implosion. A new Forever stamp will be released honoring Congressman John Lewis, who passed away in 2020. The stamp will be issued in July, and the main post office facility in Atlanta will also be named after Lewis in August. Questions are being raised over why the public was not informed earlier about what the Navy knew concerning a potential implosion that was detected shortly after the Titan mini-sub lost contact with the surface. That detection was Sunday. Experts are also saying what likely happened that day was so fast that the crew was probably unaware and did not suffer. Rear Admiral John Mauger of the U.S. Coast Guard said the debris found on the ocean floor about 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic was consistent with catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber in the submersible. A new Washington Post Ipsos poll on race and the Biden administration. AURN's Jamie Jackson has more.
Americans were asked a range of questions providing valuable insights into their views on President Joe Biden's policies and the state of race relations in this country. Regarding President Biden's policies, that poll found that 49% of respondents believed his policies made no difference. 48% indicated that if Biden were to be reelected, they would be satisfied but not enthusiastic. In contrast, 54% of those polled expressed anger at the prospect of former President Donald Trump being reelected. An alarming 69% of respondents said they believed it is now more dangerous to be a black teenager in America than when they were teenagers themselves. Addressing the state of race relations in the country, 51% of respondents expressed a belief that the race problem in America will worsen. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
The poll was conducted between April and May.
Hey, we appreciate it, Mike. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for the headlines. The Newsmaker crew is here. What's up? Y'all give it up. Talib Shabazz is in the building.
What's happening so much?
What it is, man. What it is. I'll let you and Vi get away with not calling me Tommy B because it's been so long. I'll let y'all get away with that, man. But appreciate you coming back. It's all good. It's all love, man. I don't even care. Notice I don't care.
I won't do it no more.
No. Hey, look, trust me. It's going to just go with what you know.
Okay. All right, cool.
The country commentator's out this week. I'm going to give him something anyway.
Yeah,
he's on the road.
Yeah.
He's on the road. So what's up, Vi? Man, just a strange week, though, you know, as we're putting together episode 181, really beyond the fact that we're watching as we tape, you know, a possible coup in Russia. Who'd have thought?
Right.
I'm not going to get into that this week, but I'm sure we're going to have plenty for next week. But really, the world was watching and waiting on the fate of the 5 trapped in the submarine, man. People were really interested in knowing what was going on. As Mike reported, they did not survive.
Right.
But now it's really coming down to whether or not the military knew earlier than most, that this thing had imploded and they weren't alive.
Didn't say anything about it. You know,
didn't say anything about it. That's where this investigation might be going. But just a few points, and I'm gonna throw it to you, Talib, because honestly, you were more interested in this. You know, when I asked like everybody, hey, what's the big news for the week? This is the first thing you went to. But a few points from New York Magazine. They say we still don't know exactly why the Titan sub imploded. One, the safety of the Titan had been repeatedly called into question.
Yes.
The sub was wasn't subject to any really safety regulations. There's the Passenger Vessel Act of 1993, which applies to submersibles, but it only applies to the submersibles in the U.S., you know, built in the U.S. and operate in U.S. territory.
Right.
And this company, OceanGate, the company that owned the sub, had exaggerated its partnerships and its designs. And finally, New York Magazine mentioned that this is just another example of the ultra wealthy and their death wish, man, with these. They called it high risk experimental luxury. So
they actually have a term for it now.
Experimental luxury is the term. Yeah, bro, that's the term. But Talib, I'm gonna throw it to you, man, because it was early on your radar. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, there's I got a lot of thoughts about this. Number one, definitely being the fact that, you know, people who have more money than they really know what to do with it always seem to find these thrill-seeking adventures, you know, and, you know, whether it's, you know, going up into space or going down to see the Titanic or, want to climb one of these mountains, Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest or, there's always, I don't understand that thought process. Maybe I just don't have enough money. You
and me both, because when you said, hey man, that's my top topic, I said, really? Because because they all, and I have white friends who listen to the podcast, and so this is not it is what it is. Take it for what it is. But when I see white people doing crazy stuff, it just kind of rolls off my back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I knew immediately, and I'm not making fun of the dead, because honestly, you hate to see tragedy, but I look at, I'm like, I know there were no black people in this. So no brothers and sisters are not in the sub.
They did have a brother with melanin though.
Pakistani, billionaire. Sometimes when you get billions, you forget.
Yes, you do, and again, like I said, you get bored easy. So you're always looking for the next thing to do, which is why I feel like, we've seen cases like this over the years, Spider-Man scaling up the side of a building, just like.
And that was recent too, where the guy.
Yes, the guy.
Nothing. None of the suction cups, just going straight up.
Just going straight up. So, but just a couple things to talk about. At first, first of all, the name of the company is Ocean's Gate, which is like, really? Watergate? We got,
Heaven's Gate.
Right, exactly. And now we got Ocean's Gate. So I thought that was a little humorous. The fact that, originally they were saying that the submersible was designed with NASA. In one of the articles I was reading, it said that they were, that they had contacted NASA in helping the construction of this thing.
Right.
Then I heard that, like you said, they had exaggerated a lot of these partnerships. So I'm not really sure if that was one of the partnerships that had been exaggerated. But, this thing did not look, when you look at it, I can't see me going, 40 feet deep.
Well, you sent me something about the parts. Explain that.
Yeah.
Explain that.
The parts, they actually had, there was an interview, I believe it was CBS, that some people from CBS had gone to take this thing and actually had ridden in the submersible. But, the guy, he's explaining, we sourced this from, he's pointing to different things around the submersible. And I sourced this from this place. I took this from this place, and I'm just sitting there like, that doesn't really sound, I don't know if I really want to get into something where the light fixture was gotten from Wayfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a sub.
A game controller.
Video game controller with Bluetooth that operates the unit, which is like, I got people that can't even connect Bluetooth to their earbuds. You know what I mean? Like the earbud to the phone. And you're
using this podcast.
Right, exactly. Right. And you're using Bluetooth technology to steer this thing.
Man.
And then it was... when you look at just, how it was built and everything, I can't imagine being in a place with no seats. Going down. Come on, look. Let's just be real about it. After a certain point in the water, you can get swimmer's ear from the pressure. If you're rising too fast. So there's so many things to think about if I was going to really step into some kind of submarine type structure, or machine. It's like, no. The fact that I have to sit there Indian style, with my legs crossed for however long this trip is already like, no, I can't do it because my knees are bad.
Let me stop you there, man. Let me say this. When, Washington, I think it was Washington University, who they had said they partnered with.
Okay.
There were several people who tried to encourage them when they were doing the testing of the submersible.
Right.
And because they did the submersible testing up to a certain point, but there was an expert on CNN and he was basically saying, look, it's okay. I mean, you might be doing it 2 times, 3 times the depth,
right.
but you really should be doing it 8 to 12 times the depth. Bring it back.
Right.
I mean, without anybody in it.
Right.
You actually push it down 12 times the depth of the wreckage.
Yes.
And then bring it back and study it and then repair it, refurbish it. Then you go.
Yes.
But they had not done that. That was one of the reasons why a lot of the folks that they had said they had partnerships were saying no.
Right.
You might have texted us once.
Yes.
But we weren't partners. So you put our logo on stuff because you talked to us, but they did not truly approve. One last thing on that, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. One last, you got any one other thought on this?
The last thought really that I had on it was, again, how we view events like this. How we as the general public consume scenarios like this, because Obama had a speech. President Obama was talking to I forget what group he was talking to, but he says something to the effect of while the world is watching these 5 people waiting to see if they've survived the submersible, we've lost 700 refugees off of the coast of Greece.
Yes.
And it's, again, why are we so interested in this story? Is it because of the whole, do-it-yourself, DIY type of,
Well, I think it's that whole pioneer, that whole, but I'm glad you mentioned the Obama thing, because it points to the fact that they put so much time and so many resources into these 5 people. Maybe because they can recoup the money and get it back. When you mentioned the refugees.
Right. Yeah, that's
we got to tighten the border.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that. Appreciate your thoughts on that. And love, again, on that story, would love you guys' feedback. I mean, I'd love to just know what the audience, what our podcast followers think about it. Go to castropolis.net, hit the voicemail. Would love your thoughts on that. But before we wrap, what's your big takeaway?
From the week?
Your big takeaway, yeah.
My big takeaway for this week was the Hunter Biden story.
Okay.
The fact that, they finally got him on something.
Yeah.
That, he was charged with 2 tax evasion, 2 charges of tax evasion, and then having a firearm. While you're, not a convicted felon, but while you're a drug user. I never knew that was I'd never heard of that as a law before, where, somebody who is a known drug abuser cannot have a firearm.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, it does.
If you're a crackhead, you should not have a gun. Which, he was smoking crack.
Yeah.
On video.
On video, yeah. I'm very proud of it. This is me and my chick. We're here in the room. Anyway.
Every time I remember, go ahead. Every time somebody reminds me, I got something to say, but go ahead. I'm going to let you finish up on this.
So, just the fact that these 2 charges, the taxi, the not paying the taxes on time. If it was anybody else, Joe Blow, average citizen, that wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah.
He already paid it. He just paid it late. Granted, okay, they're going to let it go. The firearm charge is something that would have probably garnered the average citizen more time.
A felony and possibly jail time. Yeah.
Right. So
some rappers have gone to jail.
Oh, yeah.
For this.
What's my man's name? Plaxico Burris?
Several.
Yeah, exactly. So, we know that is definitely something that would have been a bigger slap on the wrist. I think that, and what I find to be hilarious is that, the Republicans, the Republican Party of Congress is looking to, do more. They want more. They want more blood from the Bidens. So now they're open, from what I understand, they're supposed to be starting some further investigation into the Bidens, money and all this stuff. Now, I'm just like, yo, guys, look, man, nobody's ever satisfied.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say this to the Democratic Party, man. The Hunter Biden hill is not one you want to defend. Let that brother, wherever it goes, because that ain't the one you want, because it's just too murky. He's been on, when I saw the video, that was enough for me. Racial slurs, right? Crack. I mean, dude, he's just not a good dude. I mean, sometimes you got to chalk up your losses. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that's his kid, that's his son, but that's his personal hill to protect.
Exactly.
Not the country and not the party, because it's already, it's just, and as far as and let the foolishness continue over on the Republican side, right? With that foolishness and
because they're gonna crazy burn themselves out.
They're gonna learn some hills you just don't fight.
Yeah, I mean, we got Bobert and MPG.
It's like high school. It's fucking high school.
Mean Girls. It's Mean
Girls. That's what it is. Hey, man, but the other thing I asked you, because this is the last show, end of Black Music Month, our final show. Mm-hmm. And I asked you to give your top 5 rappers. Or rap group, top 5 rap.
Sure.
Give me your top 5. However order you want to go in.
Right.
Roll.
Okay, so the first is going to be, this is who I feel like has really been at the top of their game. This is...
Oh, you in the business. You're the man.
Right.
Look,
so
you're an authority.
So I'm giving you, because usually when people ask for top 5, they're usually saying, like, who do you think is the best of all time? I have a best of all time, and then I have my favorites.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But in terms of best of all time, and definitely LL Cool J, number 1 on every way possible. The guy was doing it since 84, 85, tons of hits, changed the way people thought about rapping, the big word style and all this. L, number 1, without a doubt. To me, Rakim is my number 2 because Rakim...
I'm just giving you...
It's the way that Rakim rhymed made people go back to the drawing board. What I mean?
Okay.
And had to really kind of get into where he was. He elevated the game. So definitely number 2 for me. Number 3, 4, and 5 can kind of be interchanged a little bit. But I think that the lyrical skills of Bun B from the UGK, probably, to me, one of the most underrated MCs out there. Being from the South, you know what I mean? Not coming out of that New York. I'm a real lyricist, and being able, and then having the partnership with Pimp, and it just worked. You know what I mean? Pimp was the stylist, Bun was the lyricist. It's kind of like my number 4 pick, Andre 3000. He's been able to maintain a certain level and of skill. You know what I mean? What he does. I mean, he the way he puts things together, it really makes me like, oh my God, I never would have thought of that. You know what I mean? So number 4 for me. Number 5 is Kool Moe Dee. And number 5, the reason I gotta give it to Moe Dee is because Moe Dee is the one that made me want to rap. He made me, it wasn't just about, when I die, bury me and hang my stuff on the cherry tree. You know what I mean? That's what was going on in the 80s at the time that Moe Dee makes his entrance into the game, and the first thing he does is he invents the fast rhyme, which is something that people not only don't give him credit for, but people still do today.
Yeah.
Having to do the speed, when they speed the cadence up. So, for me, yeah, definitely Mo is top 5.
Good list, man. Good list.
Appreciate it.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do my big takeaway for the week, and
okay.
I have to do sports, man, to kind of escape the craziness. So the NBA draft was this week, and one of the things I think I'm seeing or I observe is that the NBA is really trying to push a family vibe, a cleaner cut vibe with all this stuff going on with Ja and Zion. If you noticed, a lot of these kids that were drafted, their mom, dads, their family, their grandmas, they do all that. They do all that, of course, with the drafts anyway. But it just seemed more so this, one of the drafted players' mom had cancer. That was the big story, or she had beat cancer.
Okay.
One was dealing with breast cancer. It was just the stories that came out, with the exception of course, the player from Alabama with the gun, almost got the gun charge.
Right.
But for the most part, the NBA is really trying to push this image of family friendly, embracing that, considering a lot of what's been going on.
Right.
So in my opinion, again, it's a message to Zion, who's this whole, Mariah Mills situation with Zion.
Right. Yeah.
And the gun situation with Ja Morant, it says to me that they're not going to put up with a lot of this going forward. And it's a message that if you want the big money, you're going to have to comply.
Yeah.
It just says it to me. And as far as my top 5, man, my top 5 is probably
going to hear this.
It's going to be very different, man, because and probably a lot more commercial. And the reason being, I'm older. I'm an older kid. So I was there, right at the cusp of the commercial side of things.
Sure.
But the top, and it's gonna be weird, man. Number 5, Salt and Pepper. I give it to them because they were doing female rap. And strong and hard at doing female rap.
Right.
When the females were still very much being objectified in the songs and the lyrics. And they took it and could really be headline on a show.
Yeah.
If you remember, I think the Fresh Fest and a lot of these shows, in a lot of cases, if you went to these shows, man, their show was unstoppable.
The show was dynamite.
Oh my God.
Salt and Pepper in concert it was always a good time.
It was amazing when you saw them in concert. So they weren't just these ladies doing it in the studio. They were real. Right. They were performers.
Right.
My number 4 is Public Enemy, man. I mean, I come from the group of rappers versus the solo MC. So for me, it was Public Enemy, Chuck D, Flav, but more so Chuck D, because Public Enemy said what they said in a time when nobody said it, and everybody was afraid to say it for their career.
Right.
But they put it on the line, even when they said in their lyrics, Black radio ain't gonna play this.
Right.
We gonna do it anyway.
Right.
So the boldness of Public Enemy, man, it changed my whole mentality. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They're saying stuff that, the red, the black, and the green,
Yes.
All right, so Public Enemy number 4. Curtis Blow, number 3, man. And I mean, I say it for Christmas rapping alone, because it's still here. It is
been resampled.
Staple. Yes.
Yeah.
For Christmas rapping alone, I got to put Curtis Blow in my top 5, because he is his legacy.
True. He was also the first rapper to get a major deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Was he first one to go gold? Was he
go gold?
Yeah. Okay. And number 2, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, man. Because I'm old school, I'm older, man. I just remember these cats, seeing them on stage. I just remember the Scorpio, the whole, the message, the diversity of the stuff that they put out, the lyrics. It was just, I mean, it may sound all New Yorkish, but that's what we heard first. You know,
that's what it was.
And number one, which I don't think these guys get enough credit. And they could have been, honestly, you could flip this list around. Houdini. I think, you know, and the reason being, you think about it like this. These guys did six albums.
Yeah.
They had 6 albums. A lot of these rappers, man, would do 1, 2 albums. See, 6 albums, 13 years. Just the longevity. The other thing is the impact they had on R&B. Because a lot of their tracks in the beginning, they didn't sample.
Dude, did you know who actually did their first two of their first records?
Who?
Thomas Dolby.
Thomas Dolby. You can see, I mean, Come on. You know, just the fact that you got one of the biggest pop producers at the time, you know, making hip hop, you know, was just incredible. I mean, so when you look at the list of their hits, man, from Friends to, you know, Mr. Magic,
Big Mouth,
Freaks Come Out, The Haunted House of Rock,
exactly, Big Mouth,
5 Minutes of Funk. It was just, and as a DJ, you loved the Houdini record. It gave you everything, an intro, a break. It gave you everything. So
yes.
So
you know, Thomas, I'm not mad at that list at all, bro.
All right, let me give you some love. But you know, this group, and my honorable mention, I'm cheating a little bit. My honorable mention, Outkast, man. Outkast has to be, and I include Andre, you know, in there as well. But Outkast, without a doubt, man, because they changed the game again. That whole sound for the South. That's it, bro. That's it. But we'd love your thoughts. Go to castropolis.net, choose the people poll. You know, I know the younger folks are gonna come in with but
Little Wayne.
I mean, you know, it's generational. But I just look at the cats who were just you look at the foundation they built, just incredible. But go to castropolis.net, hit the voicemail. We're wrapping up Black Music Month, but it's 50 years of hip hop all year long. So, you know, let us know what you think. But thank you, Talib Shabazz, Newsmaker crew.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, man. And again, Vi's out there in the ether doing his thing somewhere.
What's up, Vi?
More. This is the G Podcast after the break.
What's up, y'all? This is the G Podcast, episode 181. Tommy B's in the house. First of all, man, I just got to say Mardi Gras in June, y'all. What is up? Tell me your name. These are the actual guys who put this amazing event on. This is the second year. Definitely going to have a third year, I know, right? So first of all, introduce yourself. Tell the folks who you are.
I'm Trey, Bryant from Mobile, Alabama.
Wait a minute. Some more now. What'd you say?
Mobile, Alabama, residing here in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's what I'm talking about, Mobile. Where you from, man? What's your name?
Hey, George Reiss from Mobile with G Reiss Production.
Excellent, man. First of all, let me say, G. Gary Bryant, first of all, introduced me to this concept you guys are doing here in Atlanta. Atlanta's my hometown, and the Swatch, this area I grew up in. So to see you guys doing this here, it really makes my heart feel good. It's a great event, grown folks event, great music, bringing Mardi Gras in June. What made you come up with the concept of doing Mardi Gras in June?
Well, we're from Mobile, you know, it's the home of Mardi Gras. So what we're doing, we wanted to actually give the world a taste of the port city. Do it on the off season because, you know, while we're Mardi Gras and everybody else is normal. At work, the world is going on normal. So what we wanted to do is bring a taste of the port city and give Atlanta a taste of Mardi Gras during the off season.
Are you finding a lot of folks from Mobile finding out about the event?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got people here from Houston, from Memphis. We got a lot of people here from Mobile, and we also have a lot of people that live in Atlanta that actually reside in Mobile.
Excellent, man. So tell me a little bit about the first. Well, what do you foresee for the next year? Are you going to continue to do it at this location? You see it?
Yeah. What we like about this location is very similar to Mobile. In Mobile, I do events there. Trey has done events there. And the cabaret style is like, I call Mobile the king of cabaret. We love the BYOB, grown folks entertainment, the slide, the swing out dancing. That's just Mobile native. And then to have so many people from Mobile in Atlanta, it was just the perfect match.
Let me. How can people contact you about next year? Now first of all, thank you for having me out here in the G podcast. You know, y'all can tell I've had a great time. I mean, I'm a little tipsy, but I'm all right. First of all, how can people contact you? How can people find you?
Yeah, you can contact me on Facebook, T1 Entertainment, or Trey Bryant on Facebook. Also, T1 Trey on IG.
What about you?
Yeah, George Reiss. That's REIS. That's my personal Facebook, or you can do G Reiss Productions. That's GREESE Productions on Facebook and IG.
First of all, fellas, keep up the great work. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, y'all, for real. and I'm blown away. I'm gonna definitely be here for year 3. Take care of yourself. Appreciate you. Let's go party some more, man. All right. G Podcast out.
Yes. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, George, man. Continued success. I can't wait for the next year. Year number 3. Can't wait for it. Definitely, y'all. Great job. I'm still recouping. You can hear it. Follow This Is the G Podcast on all social media. On Twitter, you can find us at This Is the G Pod. Make sure you share us with your friends, y'all. Please do. Don't cost you nothing. Help us grow. Also, big thanks to Mike, Vi, Tonya B, and Talib for your content. Keep up the great work. We'll be back next week. This week was a little bit different. The Shy is returning, so we got to talk about that. Pull the Shy crew together. All of our fans of the Shy. Also, Tonya B will be back with Moti. And if you watch the new Gabrielle Union rom-com on Netflix, would love your feedback. Go to castropolis.net. Drop me a voicemail. Let me know what you think. Plus a whole lot more. Again, thank you, Team One Productions. Thank you, G Reiss Productions, Mardi Gras Summer Edition. Taste of the Port City, y'all. Big time, man. Again, great time. Shout out to my Troy fam. Gary, man, thank you so much again for the invite and pulling us into that. Oh, man, what a time. Howard, Slick, Vi, Banks, Jackie, and Glow, thank you so much for coming out. All the fellas we didn't connect with, but we had a chance to talk to over the phone. Norman, Tim, thank you, fellas. Appreciate y'all, man. Can't wait to see y'all at homecoming. So with that, I'm going to leave you with some sounds. And if you're watching us on YouTube, some sights from the event. And again, thank you so much, man. They left the SWAT in great condition, man. Grown folk style. So thank you. And with that, episode 181 is in the can. Peace. Power to the people, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Hey, Levi, say it with me. I say, bubble it up, bubble it up. Bubble it up, bubble it up. I said, bubble it up, bubble it up. Come on, bubble it up, bubble it up. I said, bubble it up, bubble it up. I said, bubble it up, bubble it up. 'Cause I feel like bubble it up. I feel like bubble it up. Come on, y'all. I feel like bubble it up. I feel like bubble it up.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.